Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off your day with the crew. Chat family, as always, you are the most important part of this show. Go ahead and smash that like button to support your Woo crew. We got the entire starting five here. And once you've done that, then encourage somebody else to do the same. We got Mr. Flannel Sam up here on the desk, the vet of the squad. What up, though, brother?
Hey, let there be light.
Ah.
Oh!
That is all right.
Good call, man.
I
was wondering. I was like, I can barely see myself.
No, that is all well and good. It's happened to the best of us, especially those of us who.
Hey! There I am. I'm right there.
I have now arrived, man. It's and it really kind of crystallizes, just like, you know, the bright lights are on, and I can squint a little bit, but you know what? All of us have thrive in the under the bright lights. That's what we do best.
Let's go. That's the bet right there, man. Shout out to Mr. Matt Broder as well, Lions Tigers beat reporter for the network. What up, though?
What up, though? Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
I'm so excited to talk about the Lions and the Tigers today. Like, man, yesterday, so polarizing.
And the Pistons.
And the Pistons.
Yay.
And the Pistons.
Shout out Rod Beard.
Right.
Hey, and shout out to our elite booth. We got in the sound booth over here. Mr. KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick. What up,
though, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. I'm trying to figure out how I get on KG's level, man. This man came in with that premium lambskin do-rag on. Got the hair looking like prestigious. I was just like, goodness, man. It was gold colored and everything.
Hey, don't get caught up in the hype. It's the Bow Wow collection, so don't get caught up in the hype, man.
Wow, yippee.
And shout out to JBSMOOOOOV and the TD booth. Woodward Sports is MVP. What up, though, brothers?
I think you're muted, Mr. JB.
No,
there we go.
There you go.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing much. I'm just chilling. You know, another day. Damn traffic. I hate it.
Yeah, stupid.
Wait, guys, you never actually explained to me why do you choose to tie your do-rag around the back or around the front? Like, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
Look, man, when I had hair and I had the waves rocking, the do-rag only gets tied to the back. You might double it up around,
okay,
but it still only gets tied up in the back.
Because I saw some clip or some picture of Chet Holmgren, and someone was giving him props for tying it in front. It was like, oh, like he was basically, he was at the cookout. Like, he gets it. He's got people in his corner. I didn't know. I never seen that.
He might have
seen it tied out back.
He might have had a tiny do-rag. That might have been what it was. Most of them, they make them now to where they just tie in the back.
Got you.
So.
Got you. All right.
Shout out Chet, though.
Yeah.
Shout out Chet, man.
Yeah, I never even seen him rocking the do-rag.
Yeah, where you see that at?
Yeah.
What's trending with JBSMOOOOOV? I'll send something in Slack.
Definitely do that.
I got you.
Oh, man, it's your boy, Brandon Aka, Detroit Kool-Aid. Cover the Pistons here for the network as well. Mr. Matthew Broder, you want to tell the people what we're talking about today?
Yes, I just learned how to spell do-rag. Never knew it was spelled that way.
Fire already, man. Oh, my God.
Learning new things every day.
We are. We're going to have the Tigers in these first two segments. We're going to have just a general conversation about the Lions. Like, Bleacher Report came out with this ranking, and they put the Lions in a pretty favorable spot. I want to see if you guys agree with that. Post-draft, we got Mr. Rod Beard coming on at 8:45 and 9 o'clock to go around the city to talk about those Pistons that Kool-Aid was alluding to. And then we're going to break down Mekhi Wingo in the second hour of the show. We got to talk about this man from LSU, wearing number 18 at LSU. He has some cool things to say in his press conference. This is our day to talk about Mekhi.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Let's rock. And you know what? let's start with those Detroit Tigers that you were talking about. They had the doubleheader yesterday after their game. Their first game against the Cardinals was rained out. Game one, the Tigers stunned in the ninth inning after Flaherty's gym.
Man.
Oh, goodness.
That one hurt my soul.
Broder was talking about it. It's so much. Like, you got to pick up the dub when you get your pitchers going out there doing that. How'd that game make you feel, Mr. Matthew Broder?
Frustrated.
Especially as a pitcher.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And I mean, and where's the question I put in here? Like, if the Tigers get even close to Flaherty pitching like this consistently, how good can they be? Or does this offense just prove, like, are they going to run into these issues all season regardless of their pitching performance? But he was so special through, what did he throw, 6 2/3 of an innings?
Yes, sir.
14 strikeouts, 1 walks. I think he only threw 93 pitches. He had 13 strikeouts through 78 pitches, which is like on pace with, there we go. Which is like on pace with the if you want to get to the 21 strikeout, not record, but if you're see, now I got do-rags on my mind and I'm all messed up.
You tied yours too tight, man.
He was dealing his
Tied his to
fastball.
the
He was
front.
pinpointing his fastball, averaging 95. It got up to 98. His slider was looking good, but man, that curveball was as good as I've ever seen Jack Flaherty throw it. That game was as good as I've ever seen Jack Flaherty pitch.
Yeah.
Well,
Against
I
his
know you
former
were
team.
watching it closely.
Yeah.
He was special.
I've never seen Jack Flaherty pitch better ever. And I understand that he probably did a couple of times with the Cardinals because he had some damn good years there. But 6 2/3, 14 strikeouts, no earned runs, just looked dominant throughout. It was probably the most heartbreaking loss of the season for me as a fan. And I understand it's 1 of 162 and things like this happen. Sometimes you're going to pitch well and you don't get run support. It happens to the best of them. I mean, Jacob deGrom won a Cy Young in 2018 with a 10-9 record and a 1.70 ERA. It happens. But on that particular day, especially Jack Flaherty going against his old team, it was just it was rough. And especially considering what the Bats did in Game 2. It's just baseball is just a really funny game. I'll just say that.
It really is. They should be 18 and 13 right now, but it is what it is. Fun fact, do you know that is the most Ks the Tigers have had in a ball game since Max Scherzer in 2014? So
Wow.
that is crazy, man. For a pitching performance that good, for them to just give it away in the ninth, our guy Shelby Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our guy, man, friend of the show, but he could have had a better outing. It is what it is, but at least they made up for it in the second game. So
Yeah, definitely. Game 2, the Tigers won 11-6. Man, talk about Riley Green and Winslow Perez.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Winsell.
what more can you
Winsell.
say about those two? I mean, Riley Green, he was the only source of offense in Game 1, but in Game 2, he hit a home run, got a couple of hits, now puts his home run total to 7, puts his on-base percentage at, I believe, 383, and his OPS over 900. I can say it because I claimed him as my godson before the season even started. Riley Green, I mean, if he keeps it up, he could be an all-star this year, and he certainly is having the breakout that we all thought that he could, and I certainly predicted that he would.
We
And-
need you to love on Torque a little bit more.
Hey, yo,
he's got to earn that.
Plausible
Hey,
for a second
a
there.
little bit.
Just a quick
little
sidebar.
plausible.
I was always higher on Riley Green, though, because of the on-base percentage, because of the fact that he always had that strike zone discipline that Torque doesn't appear to have, that it seemed like he had at Arizona State, but might have lost a little bit in the major leagues. And as far as Wimseel Perez goes, did you know that after those 2 home runs, after that amazing performance he had last night in Game 2 of the doubleheader, in 43 at-bats, he has an OPS of over 1,000. Wow. That's pretty
That's
phenomenal.
nuts.
That's making a statement, and you cannot overstate just how important Wimseel Perez has been to this team since he's been up, especially considering that there is a large portion, a larger than you'd hope portion of this Tigers lineup that pretty much is, for all intents and purposes, an automatic out. So Wimseel Perez stepping up has been absolutely huge for this Tiger team, and he never shined brighter than he did yesterday. Phenomenal performance by both Wimseel Perez and Riley Green.
And KG, to double tap your fun stat, your fun fact of the day, Tigers PR put this out that Wimseel Perez, he was the first Tiger rookie to homer from both sides of the plate since Raul Casanova in 1996.
Damn.
That's a
Raul Casanova.
That's
Yeah.
a name.
And we're going to talk about it more, but one of my favorite parts of that game for Wimseel Perez It was in the 7th inning. He's a young player who was mashing all game. He drew a walk. He drew a walk. I think it was a 7-pitch walk where the last few pitches were just outside the strike zone. He showed incredible play discipline. Like a young player like that in a big moment at the end of the game, it's just natural for you to kind of expand your strike zone or try to swing for the fences and try to almost end it in one swing. But he stayed tight and he took that last pitch that was just out of the strike zone for a walk. I don't think it ended up meaning anything, but looking at those little things, like little guys that you want to keep, little moments, those singular moments from young guys at the end of the game, those are the things that I would look for when you're thinking of who to move down and who to move up. Like, shoot, like you can't send him down.
Yeah,
right?
you got to keep him up.
You already know I agree. To me, there's very few things sexier on a baseball diamond than watching somebody take a pitch just off the plate to take their base for a bases on balls, or as we call it, a walk. It's and the fact that, and you already know that I love that, the fact that Wimseel Perez is showing that strike zone discipline, the same discipline that Riley Green appears to have, and we already know that Mark Canha has. Maybe he's your breakout star of this team. Maybe he's your unexpected guy. Maybe he even creeps into the Rookie of the Year conversation. I mean, that's tough. That's tough. I know that's tough. I know that's tough, but at least if he continues, I don't know if he can continue at this pace, but if he becomes one of those valuable contributors to this team, if he stays up, if he can at least maintain an OPS of over 800, that's one of those things that could lead to a Tigers AL Central title.
You know, real quick, sorry, Kool-Aid.
No,
Matthew Kruger brings up a good point. Tigers need more switch hitters, which Wimseel Perez is. And whether you think they need more or not, the fact that he is a switch hitter and AJ Hinch was able to use him in some creative scenarios. He batted third in game 2, right? But what it does at the end of a game, especially when they're trying to decide to bring in the opponent's team to bring in a righty or a lefty, and you see Wimseel Perez hit a home run for both sides of the plate, like that's the spark that Andy Ibanez brought in game 2. I think it was Chuck Brewer in the chat a few minutes ago said, "Man, is that game 2? Is that their run outburst for the month or for the week? Like, we hope they don't use it all up." I even tweeted like, "Man, couldn't they just share a couple runs with game 1? You know, just why did it have to be such horrendous offense in game 1 when Flaherty was dealing without throwing many pitches?" So it's like the guys should have been in the game versus game 2 when they were raking. They scored a season high 11 runs. Yeah. It's like Sam said, baseball, it's a funny game.
Listen to this, guys, and this just shows how just funny and even in some ways effed up the sport of baseball is. When there's 162 of them, you're going to get weird outliers like this. In this doubleheader, in game 1, the starting pitcher gave you 6 2/3, 0 earned runs, 14 strikeouts. In game 2, the starting pitcher, who happened to be Matt Manning, 4 2/3, 4 earned runs.
Yep.
Guess which game the Tigers won? Of course, it was the second one where Matt Manning pitched poorly, and then in the game where Jack Flaherty pitched brilliantly, the Tigers lost. But that's the thing. We can talk about game 1, and I know we're going to get into a little bit more as an indictment on their offense, and certainly their offense does need work, and you can say that to some extent. But I've given you examples with guys like Jake DeGrom, with guys like Felix Hernandez, even last season, Blake Snell, who had a lot more no decisions than you would think and still won Cy Youngs. And we're not even talking about Jack Flaherty to win a Cy Young. We're talking about sometimes you just don't get the run support. Sometimes you just get unlucky. But it is just so unfortunate that the Tigers wasted that brilliant Jack Flaherty start.
Elite performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to me, it is a little bit more encouraging to see them have kind of these runs scored in bunches. You know what I mean? Not stringing it along like 2, 3, 4 games where they're scoring maybe 2 or 3 runs. Obviously, we would have rather see them definitely, like Broder said, share a couple of those runs from the second game with the first. But it does give me a little bit of optimism that if these things start to go the ways that a lot of us believe, you know what, when the bats start to warm up a little bit, it should be there for them. As long as the starting pitching and the bullpen continues to be consistent, I do believe it's going to give the bats a little bit more to say, you know what, let's get this scene together.
Well, and they needed that 11-inning outburst for sure, especially since Matt Manning did pitch poorly, and the reality is that the Tigers, they set themselves up to where if they win today, it's a successful series. If they lose, it's a failed series. But they have that chance. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that game 1 was so demoralizing, at least to me as a fan. I can only imagine how they felt as players, and they responded. They got that win in game 2, made me feel a lot better because you can't lose a series like this to a team that has a below 500 record like the Cardinals at home. And hey, if the Tigers win today, it's a success. As long as you can continue to win series, continue to win what would be their 4th consecutive series, it's a massissive success.
Yeah, massive success.
Yep.
Hey, what a start to the month, for the Detroit Tigers. It was what we wanted to see out of them. I just want to ask, after kind of this first month of the season, are they a little bit ahead of expectation, or are they kind of right where you thought they'd be?
Well, I would say they're about where I thought they would be. As I've said before, they had a much lighter schedule this year in April than they did last year, and they took advantage of it. And they are a better team with a lot more hope than they were at the beginning of last year, and it's showing. A 17-13 month of April is... You need a month like that to start the season if you want to propel yourself to win the division. So I would say that they are about right on schedule.
Dope. Hey, it's like the best start possible, I guess, for the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
let's keep it going, man.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. I don't know if we've seen this much kind of optimism and potential expectation in this division in a while, but I'm all here for it, man. April indeed was a success.
Yeah.
I'll have to say between the Tigers and the Lions. But let me tell you guys about something else that is the best. That is Premier Pet Supplies, hands down. Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers. With one major difference, they've been family and locally owned for over 30 plus years. That's over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit www.premierpetsupply.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust, on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Let's drive right down Woodward Avenue.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my word.
He did not tie that the right way.
Nah. He looks like somebody's granny.
He was getting props for this.
Bro, that's what my grandma would tie hers.
Yeah, that's how my girl ties her scarf.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it, like, if you're eating something with dip, or, like, got some ranch sauce on the side, wouldn't it, if you tie it in front, you're at risk of it dipping in the ranch?
Absolutely.
Right?
Goodness.
Shout out Chet, though. He tried.
How did none of his teammates say, hey, bro, let me help you out?
Right.
Like, come on, man.
I know they were secretly laughing at me. I know
they set him up, KG?
SGA was laughing, bro. I know he was.
Oh snap. Goodness gracious, yo. KG, you got to come in with yours like that one day.
Nah, I'm sure.
Come on, KG.
I rock with y'all, though. It won't be me.
Oh, snap. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off your day with the Woo crew. We got the whole starting 5 in the building. Go ahead and hit that like button to support the crew. Once you've done that, encourage somebody else to do the same. We're still talking about the Detroit Tigers before we move on to the Kings of the Jungle, which is the Detroit Lions. But the Tigers, man, the doubleheader yesterday, they got the split. Shout out to Winsell Perez. Shout out to Riley Green. Something that I noticed, at least with the Tigers, and I kind of talked about it towards the end of the last segment as well, is kind of how the runs are going. Early in the season, it seemed like the offense was going to be a struggle. Now it seems like they get 4 or 5 runs, then they'll have one of these kind of clunkers on the offense. Do you think this thing do you believe that this is going to go more that way where they put together higher scoring runs, or is this a thing that's going to be a roller coaster all season?
I think it's probably more likely to be a bit of a roller coaster. It depends a lot on, obviously, if a guy like Spencer Torkelson can ever get it together, or even guys like Colt Keith, Parker Meadows, guys that we had a lot of hope for, guys that we maybe anticipated would have some struggles, but maybe not this much. Certainly not this much. If they can get it together, certainly I think they will have a better offense. I do believe that Riley Green will be able to sustain this. Mark Canna, I don't know if he's going to finish with an on-base percentage of over 400, but I think it'll be somewhere in the 370s. Wimseel Perez, do I think this is necessarily sustainable? I don't think he's going to have an OPS of over 1,000.
Yeah.
But it's tough because I think you're going to see a little bit of regression to the mean from Wimseel Perez, maybe even Mark Canna, but you also might see some improvement from the guys that I mentioned before, particularly Torque. So I think this is going to be the part of their team that is going to be their biggest weakness. But as long as it doesn't cost them the division, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And obviously, I think you would agree with this, Mr. Matthew Broder. The starting pitching on this team, you believe it is strong enough as this team is currently put together to be able to have these Tigers atop the AL Central?
I'll definitely agree with that. Their starting pitching and their bullpen, their pitching in general, is going to carry this team as far as they can go. They just need the offense to be more consistent. To waste a gem like Flaherty, that stuff happens in a baseball season, but this team is set up where that's going to happen more often than we would like. Like the offense, like Sam said, the guys that need to step up need to actually step up to make up for when Wimseel Perez goes on a little bit of a dive, or Colt Keith hasn't figured it out yet. You need your Torkelsons to at least hit 275, at least get on base. I know Nate Edgington in the chat said a few minutes ago, somehow he's like second in the majors in doubles with 9 doubles, but it seems like if he's not hitting a double, he can't even make good contact on the ball. He's not barreling anything up. So you hope they work it out. You hope over the course of this next month that some of those guys start to figure it out. But we talked about yesterday, a month in, this is a time where you got to start being a little critical of your first overall pick a few years ago in Spencer Torkelson.
Well, and to Nate Edgington, I will say this. If Spencer Torkelson was parlaying those doubles with more singles and more walks, even if he didn't have any home runs, I would be somewhat cool with it. But he's not. His OPS starts with a 5 and his OBP starts with a 2. That's certainly something that you think that he will improve upon. But if he doesn't soon, maybe Spencer Torkelson and a certain word that starts with a B will start to maybe creep into people's heads. I'm obviously not ready to go there yet, but this start to the season, Spencer Torkelson cannot be the guy that costs your team a division. Do I think he will be? No. Do I think he's maybe cost them a couple of wins just himself? Sure. He's been bad.
Yeah.
He's not the only one, but he's been bad, and he's the number 1 overall pick. He's the guy that has a 30 home run season on his resume, so you expect more from him. You anticipated, as I said before, some struggles from Colt Keith and Parker Meadows. Not this bad, but you certainly anticipated some struggles. Torque, though, is the one that's the head scratcher for sure.
And I agree with everything you guys said, but the good thing about this is that our pitching has been so good and so reliable that you really only need 4 out of your 9 batters to start hitting good consistently, and that will carry your offense, man. And I really think Spencer Torque is the key to this all. If he unlocks, if you look at where the Tigers are at right now and he's not hitting, can you imagine what it would look like once he does start putting the barrel on the ball? And like you said, Sam, it doesn't even have to be home runs. If you just start putting the ball in play, that will help tremendously with everything else. But you really only need Spencer Torkelson to unlock this offense, I feel like.
Man, and that's why I was kind of asking the questions I did to start the segment, just to figure out how close these Detroit Tigers are. Based on what Matthew Kruger is saying here, it kind of backs that up as well. He says, guys, we're winning, don't be too critical. Good way to F things up, being overcritical of a winning team. And I don't think that people here are being overcritical. But I do believe that there is a place where what we've seen out of the Tigers is enough. I just don't know if that's where they need to be. I believe with a guy like a manager like AJ Hinch, with the work that they've done, and with kind of going through this offseason and saying, you know what, we don't need the big bat because we have what we need right now to compete, then you do want to see this team be able to manufacture some types of runs to be able to pick up a pitcher like Jack Flaherty. You got 14 Ks and you go as long as he did in the game, you got to pick that up. And the Tigers this season have dropped multiple games like that where they've been up late in the game, didn't really support the starting pitcher, put a little bit more pressure on the relief pitcher, and they dropped a couple games that they probably shouldn't have.
And me and Broder have talked about this, and I think he even said, AJ Hinch said that this ain't sustainable. You can't keep having these late game heroics. You can't keep getting all your runs in the 8th, 9th inning. Like, it's not sustainable. You have to get runs earlier in games and put more pressure on these opposing pitchers. But I mean, they continue to find ways to win. That's good, but you would like to see them just begin to get out of that, out of these late game heroics.
Well, and for the record, and I agree with you 100% because those late game heroics, they had the opposite of that in game 1 of the doubleheader. And one of the reasons was because I think it was the bottom of the 7th where they had first and third one out and didn't score. They didn't add on any insurance runs. And sometimes your bullpen's not always going to be perfect. And I said it yesterday that their bullpen is showing signs of regressing to the mean a little bit with guys like Shelby Miller giving up runs, Will Vest, even Tyler Holton. They're not a historically great bullpen. They're a good bullpen. But what I was going to say to people who think we're being too critical is that a question was asked. Trust me, when we're talking about the Tigers overall, when I've gone on my rants, even earlier in the show about Riley Green, Wimseel Perez, Mark Canha, I have been effusive in my praise. But you can't say positive things, at least at the plate, when it comes to Torque, Colt Keith, Parker Meadows, Javi, Jake Rogers. Those are 5 of your guys on your team who are top 10 in at-bats. And all 5 of them, to some extent, have been a black hole. Have been, for all intents and purposes, borderline automatic outs. And I'm not saying that it's cost them a winning record because it hasn't. They're 17-13. But if you ask me the question about some of these guys, I'm going to be honest. Yeah. But on the other end, as I said, if you ask me about Mark Canha, I will be more effusive in his praise than anybody.
But I think it's fair, though, because right now they've been able to overcome a little bit of the hitting struggle with the fact that they've gotten, like you say, above average, above the mean starting pitching, well, at least bullpen pitching, and the starters have been largely, as a tandem, really, really good. When that starts to regress to the mean and you don't have something to balance on the other side, which would be some of this offense to pick you up when you're going to go into the 9th up 1-0, this is going to spell a recipe for doom. If this thing continues to regress to the mean and those bats don't pick it up, then yeah, I do believe that the AL Central and what the Tigers could do to compete in there, that becomes something that you got to be a little bit more critical about. We all start the season with expectation for the Detroit Tigers. So I do believe criticism is due. Everybody on this panel at the very least stated, you know what, we'll wait until 30 games in to start making any even short conclusions about what we believe the Detroit Tigers are. But while we're ecstatic about where they've started, we can already see, you know, it has cost them a couple games. And in a division that is now shaping up to be a little bit better, a little bit better than we thought, especially the relief pitching, the pitching overall, the ERA from the bullpens out of the AL Central, it's something to write home about. To see that right now, I think that those criticisms probably could have and should have started even a little bit earlier than 30 days. Because now you're going to be in a dogfight. If you would have told me before the season that the Tigers ended the first month 17-13, I would have thought, you know what, they're in first place in the AL Central.
Yeah. But, you know, other teams are going to improve as well. I think that the Kansas City Royals are a pretty good, I would say, candidate to fall back to earth a little bit. Yep. Cleveland, I'm not sure, but I still think the 80s will win you this division in terms of win total. And I just want to respond to something really quick that Matthew Kruger said. Let me find. No. It isn't bad. I just Sam, if you're going to watch baseball this year, you need to go back and watch baseball last year. Torque had the same slow start, even slower. And I understand that. Yeah. I understand that Spencer Torkelson is somebody who appears to be a slow starter. We see it all the time in Major League Baseball, particularly with a guy like Mark Teixeira, who is a multiple-time All-Star. Not saying Torque is Mark Teixeira, by the way.
Right.
My thing is that it's a little bit harder to stomach when you see a 30-home run season on his resume. Last year, Spencer Torkelson was coming off of an underwhelming rookie year, and we hadn't seen it yet. So the slow start, although I would say a little bit more alarming, it was more expected. This year, I kind of expected Torque to hit the ground running a little bit, but hey, you may be right. We may see Torque go on a tear at some point like he did last year and make me eat all of my words and be Spencer Torkelson's biggest fan. We shall see. It's hard for me to watch knowing that I now know for sure that Spencer Torkelson is capable of being a good major league player.
At this point, just real quick before we get into our next segment where we talk some Lions, is there anything that you're seeing already that the Tigers need to do to augment this hitting, or do you still ride it out a little bit longer? You believe that these bats will be the ones to get it done?
I mean, I think it depends. I think we have to see where they're at maybe come trade deadline. Would I be opposed to them adding somebody? Not necessarily, but we shall see. I certainly have been disappointed with like Colt Keith and Parker Meadows and, of course, Torque, as we all know, even Jake Rogers. I think they'll all get a little bit better at least, but a guy like Parker Meadows, for example, I know we love what he does defensively, but if he keeps hitting like that, he's in danger of going to the minors. Mm-hmm. Same with Colt Keith. We talk about how his at-bats maybe look a little bit better than Parker Meadows. His OPS starts with a 3. Damn. That's impossible, but he's doing it. So you can't have that if you want them to continue and win the AL Central. So let's just see where they're at as the season progresses.
So you're still, at least for right now, a little bit more bullish on them.
Well, I'm bullish on the fact that Mark Canha was a damn good offseason acquisition. That's what I'm bullish on. Yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit stubborn on that for all the bitches who were talking about, oh, Matt Chapman, oh, JD Martinez, oh, Cody Bellinger, who's on the IL, by the way. Mark Canha, we did nothing.
Yeah.
That's for guys like Jim Costa, Jeff Rieger, and our very own Neil Rule, by the way.
Man. Yep.
Hey, you got the receipts. You just calling out everybody else.
I'm not usually that guy. I'm not victory lap guy. But the way you still hear about people saying like, oh, Mark Canha, if he's your best player, oh no. First of all, he's not. I would say it's Riley Green. And second of all, have you seen his on-base percentages throughout his entire career? It may not look pretty. He may not have that athleticism or whatnot, but he gets on base. Yeah. All he does is get on base. He takes, you know what's pretty? Those walks that he takes. That 3-2 pitch just outside the strike zone that he doesn't swing and miss at. He instead lets go by, gets on first.
Yep, and more times than not, he comes up in big spots.
And I'll tell you what, too. I know that double headers are kind of tough, and playing both back-to-back of a double header is tough, but you even saw what their offense looked like in Game 1 without Mark Canha. If Mark Canha was in that lineup, they may score enough runs for Jack Flaherty to get the win. I'm not saying they for sure would, because baseball is a funny game, as I've said before, but you see what the lineup could look like when Mark Canha's out, and it wasn't pretty in Game 1 of the doubleheader.
Hey, you see this comment up on the screen? Can you put that one back up, JB?
Yeah, I got you.
They got a comment for you, Sam.
Hey, it wasn't. I didn't specifically. Well, I guess I kind of did. But hey, hey, for the record, Niels called me one on air as well too. So it's all well and good.
We know Big D is watching. They called you out for your poutine take yesterday. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Flannel, for all the shit you take, you can victory lap on anybody you want. The amount of hate sent your way for clowns that don't even watch the videos and just react to screenshots, man, let it fly when you get the chance, Flannel. I got your back.
Dunk on them, bro.
I mean, but again, I appreciate that. That's
I know you don't want to be that guy.
Believe it or not, I don't like to be that guy.
Yeah.
I like to kind of take my victories in silence. I wish more other people on the network were like that, but that's all well and good. Neil Rule, what?
I love Flannel.
That man, Neil Rule, takes victory laps even when there are none to take.
Seriously. That's my guy, though. Shout out Neil.
Yeah, that's my guy as well.
President, man.
And trust me, everything I say, I will answer for on Friday.
Of course.
Yeah, that's big facts.
Oh, man. So, hey, look, still some high expectations for the Detroit Tigers, man. But you want to tell the people where they can also get high?
Dispo, of course.
Hey.
Visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward sports merch today.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Essential. Hey.
Yeah, Flannel dunked on him.
Flannel energy. Hey, catch this oop real quick. He throws it down.
Talk your
Boy,
shit, Flannel.
It's that flannel energy.
Cut off Flannel. Hey.
Hey, break it down. Hey. Let's go.
I love this show.
With the cutoff flannel. Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the crew. Man, does anybody have NFL draft hangover?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm sure the city of Detroit is recovering, recuperating well after breaking records, man, by over 400,000 people. Detroit set the record for the most at an NFL draft. Well done, Detroit.
It's one of those good hangovers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you had yourself a fun night with the boys. Maybe you met someone and had yourself a nice nightcap with him or her.
Talk about it, brother.
You wake up, you don't feel good, you're tired, you're exhausted,
found
but you're
Lizzie
like,
from Canton,
man,
didn't you?
that was
Yeah.
a successful night.
You had a walk of shame,
either
didn't you,
or.
brother?
Yeah. You're sleeping over at her house. You're walking all over at Ann Arbor's campus in your Halloween costume.
Hey.
It was that.
That sounds like an experience. You're like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a 500 Days of Summer after he first got with Summer, you know?
Exactly.
You're making my dreams come true.
No, it's true. My roommates and I up in Ann Arbor, every November 1st, we would wake up, make a cup of coffee, and we sit out on our porch, which was right on like Packard and State Street, right around that area, and we just watch all the Walk of Shames in their costumes, see all the characters, and how disgruntled they all looked. It was hilarious.
So you found Lizzie from Canton, huh?
With an X.
With an X.
Yeah.
Lizzie with an X.
Shout out to Eric Burrow, too. He said he wishes that the draft was a week long. It's the most fun he's had in a long time.
It was a blast.
Shout out to Eric Burrow, too, man. He found a way to make it out there and chill with the Woodward Sports family. It was definitely good to see you in the meetup with everybody who came down. Ryan's reaction, Freddie Felt.
Chase was down there.
Chase, Amley.
Yeah.
You know what? We got some videos. Towards the end of the week, we'll probably play some more of the content that we got from the draft. Because you know what Chase was rocking, right?
What?
His Holmes Cooked Meal shirt.
Hey.
Let's go, Chase.
Wake Up Woodward.
No way.
Let's go. He was rocking it. Let's rock.
I
man.
love Chase.
But those Detroit Lions, we got to talk about them. Bleacher Report, their post-draft power ranking. So not necessarily grading the draft, but where they position these teams after the draft overall. They have the Detroit Lions top 3.
Damn right.
They got Flannel's Chiefs 1.
Thank you.
They got Lindsey
Not my
Hunter's
Chiefs.
49ers 2.
That's actually true. First one is not, but go ahead.
All the rest of us in here, other than Flannel, they have our Lions at number 3.
Yeah.
Thank you for that Kool-Aid.
Oh man, the Texans and the Ravens. These two were surprising to me. They have them behind the Detroit Lions right now, despite we know the Ravens to be and all the improvements that the Texans made as well.
Damn. Texans at 4 already, man.
I know.
They had like a quick turnaround just like the Lions did. That is nuts, man.
Crazy, man. But how heavily do you believe this draft class will impact the Detroit Lions? Because they have them at number 3, above the Ravens, above the Texans, above the Bills. That's pretty steep praise.
I mean, I said it, I kind of touched on it yesterday. I think 4 out of the 6 picks, maybe 5, will impact this team this year, and a couple of them potentially heavily. The reality is that last season, the Lions had the 6th worst pass defense in the NFL in terms of yards given up per game, and that only got worse in the playoffs, seeing guys like Puka Nacua and Mike Evans, and then Brandon Ayuk go off, and the cornerback tandem of Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor not really hold up. So basically what you did is you gave yourself a couple of shots at it. You got a guy in Terrion Arnold who many projected to be a top 15 pick. You got him at 24. You got Ennis Rakestraw, a guy that many projected to be end of the first, beginning of the second. You got him at 61. That's absolutely huge. And the thing about Arnold and Rakestraw, which it just adds more competition in the cornerback room. A cornerback room in which there are questions, I would say, about all of them. But when you have multiple guys who can kind of answer their own questions with their play, it gives you more of a chance to have that successful secondary. And kind of an underrated thing about Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold, which even kind of passed me by, which I'm a little ashamed of myself for now, but you continue to unpack things as time goes on. Both Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, in terms of cornerbacks drafted up that high, had the most experience playing out of the slot. They had more slot experience than guys like Quinyon Mitchell and DeJean and Andrew Wiggins, Nate Wiggins, and Kamari Lassiter, and guys like that. So I think that'll help them. I think Mekhi Wingo, adding him to that interior defensive line depth, I think that could be something that pays dividend for the Detroit Lions. And I also think Christian Mahogany. I think Christian Mahogany this season steps right in and becomes their number 1 backup guard. Ooh. I understand that Coyote played pretty well last year. Colby Sorsdahl did not, but he was a 5th-round rookie. This season, I think if there is any sort of attrition, especially to a guy like Frank Ragnow, you move Graham Glasgow over, you put Christian Mahogany in that spot. Because I think he's one of those, I would say, I kind of described him yesterday as a low ceiling, but kind of pro-ready, who had a lot of success at Boston College, who didn't give up any sacks last year, was pretty good, was good in the run game. So with that being said, I think that they added depth on the D-line. I think they have their backup guard. And I think they have a couple of guys that you put in the cornerback room to help give some competition. Maybe they end up starting and make it more likely that their number 1 weakness is now at least something in which there is some depth and could potentially even be a strength. So yes, I think these draft picks will definitely help out the Lions' chances to win a Super Bowl this year.
Especially when you look at last year, man. No back-to-back losses all season. And I believe that their offseason additions through the draft and free agency is going to allow their defense to be a lot more aggressive rather than having to just rely on schemes to put players in their best possible position to succeed. You got some players, some dogs on the defensive line that you've added. You talk about shortening that window for the opposing quarterback. How much more is that going to do for our cornerbacks, especially the younger ones, the Rakestraws, the Terrion Arnolds? I'm looking forward to how aggressive this defense is going to have the opportunity to be this year, which should give them an opportunity to stake a claim definitely to a top 5 team. Top 3 feels really aggressive. But how you feeling about it, KG?
Man, I agree with everything Flannel said, and I think the ranking is appropriate. When you look at what they did last year, they were a top 2 NFC team with the worst secondary in football. And so when Neil Rule asked yesterday on Big D, like, what new addition will you plant your flag on? For me, it's the cornerback room. You absolutely revamped this room. You got more players that fit your man coverage scheme, and you also prepared yourself for injury in case Carlton Davis gets hurt or Meek Robertson gets hurt. You have your bases covered, man, and you got some really good young talent. You take that with what they already did last year. That offense is absolutely lethal. I do think they are a top 3 team and definitely a top 2 team in the NFC still. Of course, we can't put them over the 49ers just yet because we do need to beat them in order to prove that, but the ranking is absolutely appropriate.
Hey, no, I love that. And you know what? I want to be able to ask Rod Beard about that as well, sports editor-in-chief from the Detroit News, in our next segment. Thank you guys for supporting Wake Up Woodward, your Woo crew. I'm telling you all, you guys make a world of a difference in our lives, and we hope to have some marginal impact just the same way back for you guys as well. So thank you for rocking with us every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. And after us, you guys can tap in to Big D Energy. You guys already know, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, Guardian of Detroit, Mr. Darren McCarty, hosts alongside the president, Mr. Neil Rule. Shout out to Neil Rule, the Golden Voice as well. He got us into a couple of these Grand Prix events. It's going to be epic, man. Starting today, and obviously the Grand Prix at the end of the month. I want to see you guys there. After Big D Energy, though, 2 to 4, tune in to Armani and Edwards with Mass. That is University of Michigan great and former NFL wide receiver Braylon Edwards. Hey, Media King, Mr. Ryan Armani, and the lovable Tom Mazaway, radio legend. Shout out to him. After you've gotten that, you guys got to tap in with the Woodward Heavyweights, 5 to 7 p.m. You already know they're going to bring you the most insightful breakdowns, the best guests, and a ton of laughs, man. It's the heavyweights. But most importantly, we appreciate you all for making Woodward Sports your #1 digital sports outlet. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
What's good, man? How you doing? What you got for me today? Let's have a look, man. I see the one I want right there. That's the one I'm looking for.
Welcome to the winner's circle, Blake.
Hey.
Figer Law. All we do is win.
All we do is win.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The new Glorious Ice Water Bubble Hash Pre-Roll now has diamonds in it, everybody. Look, they are constantly pushing to create the best cannabis experience just for you. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flowers with only the highest terps, making the best even better. Glorious Cannabis, check them out at your local retailer, or you can always go online and check them out at gloriouscanna.com.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys kicking off the day with the Woo crew. It's been a great week of coverage. We just ended our 3rd month as a rebranded show.
Hey.
Thank you guys for rocking with us as well. We've seen the support continue to grow, and I know that has a lot to do with the chat family putting on for the Woo crew. So thank you guys as always. We got our 5 in the building. Mr. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad. Choice #1 draft pick, Mr. KG in the sound booth. We have Mr. JBSMOOOOOV, Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. Matthew Broder, our Lions and Tigers reporter, credential reporter. It's your boy Brandon Dent, your Detroit Pistons reporter for the network. But right now, we got to bring on the legend, Mr. Detroit News, Rod Beard, the sports editor-in-chief at the Detroit News. Welcome to the show, brother. As always, it's awesome to have you on the platform.
Gentlemen, good Wednesday to you.
Good Wednesday. What up, though, Mr. Rod? How you feeling, man?
What up, though? How many times did we see people on the draft stage say, what up, though, just trying to get those residual props from somebody?
Let's go, man. Let's go. Hey, look, we were talking about the Detroit Lions being a top 3 team, according to Bleacher Report. That is their post-draft power rankings. The Detroit Lions, they got the Chiefs, the Niners, the Lions, followed by the Texans and the Ravens. I wanted to be able to get your quick opinion on that. Obviously, probably talk a little bit more about the draft as well, but just your quick opinion on it since we were talking about it last segment.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right in the right slot where it needs to be, somewhere 3 or 4. I think the Texans are going to be scary if their defense can hold up, because with all the additions they have on the offensive side, they can move the ball, and they showed that already last year. It's just going to be a case of whether the Lions can build on this success and handle the success. We've seen this in the past where they've had really good seasons, and then the next one is a stinker right after it. They've just got to maintain and be able to build on this with some success and show that that wasn't a fluke. That's what a lot of people are going to say coming out of this is, was this just a flash in the pan thing? Are they going to be able to come back and do something else with this? And they've got to avoid injuries. They've got some depth now. And you could tell by the way that Brad Holmes drafted that he knew he had depth and you could make some kind of decisions about things that you wanted to do. But they went after the pieces they had to.
Yeah, Rod, were you a fan of the Lions drafting a corner in both the first and the second round and doubling down?
Yeah, once you saw where Rakestraw was dropping, it was value at that point. And again, that gives you the luxury of doing that. Have some depth at your other positions that you don't feel like. I thought maybe they would go out and get a receiver somewhere in there. And I think last time when we talked about it, I said Keon Coleman, why not? And he went early in the second round. So that was right about the slot where he was going to go. That just wasn't where Holmes was thinking that he would go get it. But I did say they would trade up, and they did trade up to be able to get the corner that they wanted, because Terrion Arnold was somewhere between 15 and 20. And if you're sitting there at 24 and he's on the board, go get the guy you want.
Hey, good morning, Rod. I got to get your thoughts about the offensive line. They made some additions to this offensive line. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College. A lot of people think he's a steal. Also, Giovanni Manu, a 6'8", 350, big mess of a man. What do you think about the additions they made to the offensive line?
Offensive line, same deal. That we've seen that they can have one of the best offensive lines where they can run, they can protect. But you just want to maintain that depth that you have, because especially on the line, you don't know where those injuries will come and to which players. We've seen Ragnow go down for a couple of games here or there. So you know that it can happen and it will happen. And they've been stuck in some of those spots where it's just, hey, if they get one more injury, they are in scary time. But they were able to hold that off. Now you just start to build your depth. And really, when they started to turn this thing around, the key was getting the offensive line straight and getting some solid players there, going out and getting some free agents and making it happen. So that's what you've got to do, is have a solid line area.
And Rod, are you worried at all that they didn't do anything or haven't addressed the wide receiver position in the draft? And I know they signed a couple guys as unrestricted free agents, one out of Illinois, who I think is pretty good. But are you comfortable with J-Mo being your, number 2 option and Donovan Peoples-Jones being your number 3?
No, I'm not. But I'm also not Brad Holmes. He obviously knows a little bit more. But I thought they could go and get another young guy to help to build the depth there. You can't look at every position and say we're going to address everything. That's too perfect a draft. But I thought if they had gone and gotten maybe that second pick was going to be a receiver, I would have felt a little bit better. But again, if you look at it and you say their defense was the weak point and that's what stopped them from getting to the Super Bowl this year, you went out and addressed that specifically. So now you're building toward what you want to be. And again, if you look at it and say that number 3 ranking is well-deserved and it's taking into account what they did in the draft, then you think those pieces are going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, Rod, we obviously know that Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, it's more than just about this year. They're rookies. We expect them to maybe be the cornerbacks of the future. That being said, do you think that the addition of those guys will help their pass defense basically right away to where it's not one of their weaknesses? It's actually something that has a lot of depth, and even as the season goes on, could maybe even become somewhat of a strength?
They're rookies. They're going to take time to really gel and figure things out. But for the long term, yes, I think that's the right play to say we're going to bring these guys in and they're just going to help us immediately, and then they'll build towards something else, being a little bit more of that.
Are you comfortable, Rod, heading into the season with Aiden Hutchinson right now, all the help that he has right now? They obviously did not go and address the edge with a high-impact potential player. But are you comfortable with what Aiden Hutchinson does have with the additions of Reeder and Davenport?
No.
I saw the eye roll.
You don't know until you see it. You've got to see. You know what Reeder can do, but you know the injury situation too. And you want to be able to see those guys come back into gel immediately, that there's some chemistry between those guys and that you're getting some additional pass rush. It's a guy. They didn't go get a star. They went and got a guy. I want to see that this is electric on defense, that you can cover a little bit longer, which lets the pass rush get home. The pass rush starts to be effective, which lets your defensive backs be a little bit more effective there too. You need some linebacker help too, that those guys, all of it has to kind of come together. And let me go back to the receiver question too. I think you can go out in free agency and find some answers there. You can go back and bring back a DJ Chark. You can just throw all of the bread on the table and say, hey, we're going to get OBJ. We're just going to make it happen. You can make some decisions there that you didn't necessarily have to go out and draft a receiver. You can figure out some other options.
All right, Rod, I got to ask you about the Tigers from yesterday because we got a gem of a performance out of Flaherty, only to lose in the 9th inning 2-1. And then the offense shows up in Game 2, beating the Cardinals 11-6. What are your takeaways from that game, whether that's how awesome Flaherty was or you have growing concerns about this offense? What do you look at from that doubleheader?
You mean Annie Ball's Flaherty from Sanchez's 17 strikeouts a few years ago? I mean, the first 7 are just like, okay, he's on one today. He is about to do something special. And 14 Ks is pretty special. So this, I'm not even making this up. We were in the sports department yesterday toward the end of that game, and we're like, yeah, okay. They're when they got the bases loaded and they didn't score, it's like, yeah, this game is done. They can't hold a 1-0 lead as well as the pitching has been going this year. They're not holding that. So after this 2-1 game, we're just like, you know what? This is going to be the second game is going to be an 11-1 game. I think that's what one of my assistant sports editors said. He said it's going to be a 10-1, 11-1 game. This is just going to be because they're going to score because they didn't score in the first game. And sure enough, you get something. You get the 10, 11 runs piled on. But that's what you just need to be able to get a split out of a doubleheader like that. It's about winning series at this point. We said what we wanted to see from the Tigers was for them to start in the 500 range and maintain that going into June, somewhere around 500, where there's still games that matter. They're not out of it, and they didn't play themselves out of it. And that's what we saw last year and what we've seen in previous years. This year, I think they've got the pitching. The hitting is going to have to wake up. It's got to be more consistent on a game-to-game basis where you don't have these 1-0 games. You've got to put 3-4 runs on the board to give yourself a chance in a lot of these games. If your pitching is going to be that good, your hitting has got to stay with it.
And Rod, just to bring it back to the Lions, I got to ask you, the free agency period is relatively done. The draft is done. As we sit right now with all the additions that the Lions have made, is this truly a Super Bowl or bust season for the Detroit Lions?
Ooh, that's a toughie. It's not make it to the Super Bowl or bust?
No, Super Bowl win or bust.
No. It's not a Super Bowl or bust because you've got to get there first. I think if you get to the Super Bowl, you've had a good season. So that's the expectation. And that's how you you tear the season down sometimes before it even starts because you put too high expectation on it. Mm-hmm. When we went into last season, everybody said they're going to win the division. And anything after that is just gravy. And so when you won the division, it was just this weight off your shoulders because you knew going in that was the expectation. It didn't ruin your season because you did get there, but you kind of played around with it toward the end. But if you say this season is win the Super Bowl or bust, you're putting an impossible measure on what they have to do. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, have they ever won the Super Bowl? So this is saying this team is tailor-made and they have to do it this year or it's a failure. I wouldn't go quite that far. I would say this is a good opportunity for them to get to the Super Bowl. But if they don't, I'm not going to be disappointed because we see where they can go. But if you set that expectation at the beginning of the year, nothing that they can do can impress you. You're not going to be impressed if they win the Super Bowl because you're saying from the beginning they're supposed to do it. So that's the kind of caution I would put to it is yes, they're coming off a good season, but let's say getting back to the NFC Championship or bust is kind of where I want to put that stick, the measuring stick on that.
Ooh, man. You know what, man? I think a lot's going to ride on how improved the Detroit Lions defense really is in this season ahead. You know, if the defensive moves that Brad Holmes made in free agency and through the draft pan out, then yeah, I do believe that this Detroit Lions team about halfway through the season, maybe even 3/4 of the way, we'll kind of know a little bit more about who this team is. And obviously, the longer we watch, the more the expectations are going to be forged. But I know where they can go.
Yeah. One last thing. How impressive was it to go and get these extensions done, to get a Sun God's extension done, to get Panay Sewell's done? And you would assume that they get the quarterbacks done too. So there's nothing to worry about. You don't have these other kind of things hanging over. Is Jared Goff our long-term guy? He doesn't have to wonder that in the back of his mind. The fans don't have to wonder it. All of that stuff is done before you even go into training camp or OTAs or anything else. That's how you run a franchise. You don't pussyfoot around it. You don't play with these things. Your key foundational guys, you lock them up when you have an opportunity to lock them up. And you make everybody feel comfortable about what your long-term future is going to be.
He's spitting.
You're spitting hot fire right now, man. Sheesh. I got to get you back for this next segment, man. But I know where the Lions can go to definitely get some good defense to help them get to the Super Bowl or bust plateau. That is Guardian Alarm. They offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. It is 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night. Know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed. It is technology backed by people. And your safety and security, it deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number is 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
After an accident, people need to hire a lawyer more than any other time. So make Feiger Law your first call. Call 1-800-A-WINNER. Their team of trial lawyers will get you the money you deserve. I still got the temporary tattoo on the back of my hand. Hell,
you ain't wiped that thing off yet.
Hey, if it doesn't come off soon, it might turn into a permanent tattoo. But that is all well and good because I love representing Feiger Law on my hand because Feiger Law, all we do is win.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys kicking off the day with the crew. We got our Woodward Pistons segment. You did such a good job kind of selling that Feiger one. Can you sell the Pistons as well?
Can't nobody sell that shit right now.
That's a tough sell.
Well,
That's hard
we've
stock
got
right
Rod Beard and Detroit Kool-Aid to talk about it. So these are people that I enjoy hearing about the Pistons from, even if the news isn't ever good. But that's all right. That's all right. It's always a fun segment.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's get this drum roll going for the legend, Mr. Detroit News, Rod Beard. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome back to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard, brother. I like the Eastern shirt, by the way. Shout out Ipsy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you know what? We got to start things off with Rod's thoughts before we get into a little bit of just kind of a off-season overview for the Detroit Pistons.
I'm going to start with expectations again, and you look at the Phoenix Suns and where they are right now. They are fishing or they're in Cabo or wherever because the expectations were what they were. You just never know, and because we got to talk about somebody else besides the Pistons to start this joint.
Yeah.
But that's just how things are, is you just don't know. Even when you put a team like that together, even these sort of big three, the idea of these throw together a big three with popsicle sticks and glue, it doesn't always work. It just doesn't. And so, I mean, maybe you see the breakup of this Phoenix team because they don't want to run it back, and certain shooting guard becomes available, I mean, you never know.
You know what? You're speaking the language right now of the chat. IT Hip says Pistons need to go get Booker from Phoenix. There are no other discussions needed.
Hey, he was wearing that Iserman jersey to that playoff game, man.
He is begging to be a Detroit Piston right now.
Came to Detroit, and him and Kevin Durant were sitting in Pistons hats. I feel like we were at that game together, Rod. I feel like that was what it was we were at. And they were both sitting there with the Pistons hats on, man. Goodness gracious. That's been the pipe dream for a few years for Detroit Pistons fans, especially with Devin Booker. It's not like he's trying to hide any aspect of his feelings and his love for not just his home state of Michigan, not just Detroit the city, but also the Detroit Pistons as his team that he absolutely fell in love with, his hometown team growing up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason because we said it as well. The Pistons' best play is probably going to be through some disgruntled team looking to break things up, be able to get some cap space, which the Pistons can offer to a lot of teams out there. We saw them do this with the Knicks, who wanted to be able to go out there and get a Jalen Brunson. The Detroit Pistons said, you know what, we'll take Jalen Duren and a few of your other clunky pieces, and we'll make this thing work. Obviously, there's teams out there like the Pelicans. There's teams out there now like Phoenix who might be a little bit more disgruntled. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls. Devin Booker's the one at the top of this thing. How realistic of an opportunity do you believe it is? Obviously, the two owners, they know each other. They're from Michigan.
I think it's unrealistic, but still, I mean, why not?
Dream to dream.
Let's talk about it. Right. if you guys are going to throw PG at me, and the way I was watching that game the other day when he got the loose ball, kind of crossed and stepped back on that three, and I said, man, that dude that's old school PG. That just Paul George can be, if he's in a Pistons uniform, you're doing something. That dude is even he might be past his prime, but PG is still PG, and he needs a team around him. I don't know if he would come here in a kind of a rebuild, but that dude is
unreal. Yeah, that's one of those players that I'm just like, man, at least the Pistons have to do something. Just throw him the offer, even if you think he's going to reject it. Just do something that shows that your mind is thinking towards much, much, much more brighter days. To talk about this offseason, though, the Pistons, they do have up to $60 million in cap space, depending on how they handle some of their restricted free agents or the qualifying offers and whatnot with some of the players that they could bring back or not bring back. Quentin Grimes is one of those guys. James Wiseman is another one of those guys that's kind of in question as relates to I see you chucking the deuces, man. We were going to get there. We were going to get there. I was going to ask you, out of these guys with the RFAs and the qualifying offers, is Simone Fontecchio seriously the only guy that's coming back? Or that you would bring back?
So. I would say so. I can think about Grimes, but I mean, if you're tearing this entire thing down, let's just tear it down. And you guys have been asking too, is there anybody untouchable besides Cade? I mean, just who are you going to get? Just tell me who you're going to get.
Bro, the longer the weeks go on, the more and more I'm just like, I believe Cade literally is the only untouchable. You look at the cap space, you look at the draft capital, you look at the fact that the Pistons need to go and restock future draft capital. I think that a few of these players are on the move. But KG, no, you had your hand up, brother. What's
good? My question is more of a hypothetical. I just want to see what you would do if you were in the situation. So for hypothetical purposes, Rod Beard has been hired as the new president of basketball operations for the Detroit Pistons. Good luck, my brother.
Let's go.
Hey. Good luck, my brother. Now, can you give us some insights as to what your first couple moves would be if you were hired as the new president of basketball ops?
I am going to let Troy Weaver do what he does and just worry about the roster and nothing else. Nothing else. Okay. Go get talent. Tell me who your top players are, and let's go and try to get, an all-star, a straight all-star. I don't even want a fringe all-star anymore. I want an all-star. I'm going to call and see what Zach LaVine's situation is. I'll make the call for PG and Book. I'll go see what Brandon Ingram's situation is and whether he's happy there or whether we can work something out. I'm going big fish hunting. I can't do these almost free agents, these almost sort of all-stars. You can build around Cade and Fontecchio and Duren, but I want to see, hey, everything on the table. It's like a garage sale. Everything must go. except for Cade. Cade is over here, but everything else must go. Make me an offer, and we'll see what we can do. But you also have to be aggressive at the people you're going after to see what's possible there. The $60 million in cap space, I'm using it all. Every single. I'm using 59,999. I'm saving literally like $10 so I can do a 10-day contract for what I mean. Just the bare minimum for a couple of 10-day contracts at the end of the year. Everything else I am spending because this is the year. If you're Troy Weaver, you feel like this year you have to show, if you're going to keep your job, you have to show that you're worthy of that. He's made some good roster decisions and talent decisions. He's also made some ones that just didn't pan out, period. And Killian Hayes is at the top of that list. If you're going to make that gamble, it has to work. And you can't have Tyrese Halliburton, who was picked after him, come and just show out and make it look even worse. You've got to have some of these things come through. Cade is going to be Cade. And this is what people have been saying, that Cade fell into his lap. But, I mean, we know the situation there is that Cade may not have been the first choice either. There were some other considerations that were there. It's the right choice, but there were some other considerations that people were thinking about in the organization too. Yep.
And I remember those reports that came out as well as we approached the draft that there might have been some other options that the Detroit Pistons were looking at, and they deliberated. Sometimes these picks, they break a little bit earlier than the Pistons did. The actual news that the Pistons were selecting Cade, it didn't really come until closer to the draft as opposed to like the day before or earlier in that day. And that was one of the questions that I wanted to be able to ask just overall is, you know, there's from the Bobby Marks of the world to other kind of high-profile NBA insiders. Some of them are under the, impersonation or under the, the fact that they want to see this team kind of run it back with the young guys and use your cap space to kind of build and augment around them. I just feel like that is a dead on arrival type of plan because it doesn't do anything for their future, especially with Cade Cunningham this year now is eligible for the max, the 5-year, $225 million max contract. You have to start winning. You have to start building something that doesn't just win for a flash in the pan, because if you don't have anything on the other end of this, and we see this with the Lions going out there, bringing in certain capital, certain draft assets that could potentially be there in 2 to 3 years, or even in a year when they start to have to make contract decisions with some of their current starters. The only way you get the longevity in this thing is if you can restock and be able to pick up that player or two through the draft that can step in for players that you're like, you know what, we're priced out of this current player that we have on the roster. If Cade is getting that money this year, all cards need to be on the table. Like you already said, there is nothing. It's Cade, it's our cap space. You guys tell me anything else that you want. Let's make a deal work, because you got to get back to some type of respectability. I know, I believe it was Bobby Marks who also brought up the fact that Houston Rockets were able to flip this thing in just an offseason from 22 wins to 41 wins in one offseason of bringing in Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Uncle Jeff Green, as well as some steps up from some of their young players. And not all the young players panned out, but they at least got them the right types of vets. The Pistons, they have to, in my opinion, sell completely out to go and get whatever. And I'm hoping that Cade Cunningham also has some say-so on what's going on right now, but that they go out there and do whatever they need to do to put the right cast of talent around Cade Cunningham. I wanted to be able to ask you about the draft as well. There's some people who believe that the Detroit Pistons should pick in this upcoming draft, and that if they're going to maintain,
pick who?
From Sam Vecini to Bobby Marks, there are people who believe that the Detroit Pistons should pick in this draft, and I'm hearing Zachary Rissache from France. Now, at first it was Alex Sarr because of the defensive ability.
Hell of a name.
But they state, hey, you know what? He's going to clash, like we've said in the past as well. He might clash with Jalen Duren. Rissache is a guy who actually is a big man, shoots a little bit better from beyond the arc, has some athleticism, and they believe that this is a guy that can pair with Jalen Duren. I already see your face. I already know what your answer is, man. I already know. This is just our off-season overview. Spend up all the money. Now we're getting to the draft part. Ron, tell me about it, man. Are you a Rissache fan?
If you're gonna give me Rissache and start me on the French, then I'm gonna answer you in French. No. Je ne t'aime pas Rissache. I mean, no, just no. You have too many young guys. All right. Here's how I can see it. You can go with the pick if you go get a big, huge name that you're going to use that cap space on because you have to manage your overall cap. So if you went and got PG or you went and got Book somehow, I don't know how you do that. You put together a package of existing players and you went and got Book. You're going to use all of your cap there and you don't have enough that you can trade that pick and get something else that works. So you may be backed into that corner where you have to use the draft pick with the slotted salary that goes with it. And I forget what it is for the number one pick, like 12, maybe 12 or 14 for the number one pick. So can you go out in free agency and get a comparable player for 12 to 14? Probably not. But can you package that pick with something else to go get another all-star caliber player in addition to the all-star player that you theoretically could get with that space? Maybe. I'm in the camp that you've got to trade for this all-star. You can't just go sign somebody in free agency. There isn't that player out there that you can go get. So if that's the plan, then you're going to have to keep the pick because you're not going to have enough assets and everything else to try to make it work. It's going to be a difficult blend to do both at the same time. But just to say Ray Sachet and that's our solution to anything, no. I mean, that's an 8-letter in the crossword. That's about the only thing Ray Sachet is going to solve.
Ray Sachet, no.
I mean, it's what does it solve? What does his skill set solve for you at this point? And bringing in another rookie who's going to need time and an international rookie who's going to need time to adjust to the U.S. game in addition to everything else. We've been down this road. We've seen Sekou. We've seen Killian. We know that European players, when they come over, they take time, and maybe the contact and the physicality and just the speed and the difference in style is going to be a lot to adjust to. I don't want to go through that again. We've seen this movie. Let's stop it while we got a chance to.
Yeah, and ultimately, I don't think Cade Cunningham wants to go through that again either. You talk about a guy who has really come here and tried to insatiate himself and ingrain himself with the city, with the culture, with the people, and not just in Detroit, but all over the state. He's gone to different high schools and done kind of just pop-up camps, secret giveaways with merch and shoes and gear for teams and such. He's a guy that wants to bring winning back to Detroit. He's a guy that wants to be accepted here. He's a guy who already said, yeah, I'm thinking about, I'd be lying if I didn't tell y'all, I'm thinking about my next extension. And the fact that he's eligible this offseason, when you make that type of play, especially with Cade Cunningham, I don't take it the same way that Drummond did. I believe Drummond, it was about the money. Obviously, you want to be able to win, but with Cade Cunningham, I get the sense that this guy wants to win at all costs. Obviously, the max is one of those things that's just going to be a push button for him. Do you believe that's something that the Pistons should get done this season, or should they wait until next season to do something for Cade?
The number is the number. I think you get it done as soon as you can. I don't think you mess around with something that he just says, you have a horrible season somehow, and he just says, you know what, this ain't it, I'm out. And then you just have nothing.
Yeah.
You have nothing at all. So if you can sign him, you know it's going to be the max or something very, very close to it, the max minus $10, then yeah, you just go ahead and do it. If you have to do it anyway, there's no use in waiting and having something freakish happen and then you lose him for nothing at all. You absolutely don't want that.
Yeah,
or
that's
you
where I'm at
end up
as well.
having to you end up having to trade him because he's just that unhappy and says he doesn't want to play here anymore. And circumstances could somehow end up that way. Don't even mess around with it. Just go ahead and get it done.
You know what? That's the word right there, Rod. Any last words, people?
I just got a real quick question, Rod, and I don't have the context. There was a super chat from one of our loyal members, Ryan's Reaction. He asked, can Rod name an NBA dynasty that ever had a pure point guard? So I think there's some conversation going on in the chat, so I don't know the context, but can you name an NBA dynasty with a pure point guard?
Was Magic Johnson not a point guard? A pure point guard?
I would say so.
Yes.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I'm with
Best
you.
ever. Yes.
Magic is easily the one that comes to mind. If you're going to say he played some center in that rookie season, and that doesn't make him a pure point guard, Okay. I mean, would you say the Pistons were a dynasty with their back-to-back? At the time, a team that won back-to-back was a dynasty. Who's that point guard? Zeke. Yeah,
pure point guard.
It just depends on what you call a dynasty, and people will say you won 3 or 4, or the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls, Golden State. If you're going to call it those, then I'm going to say, hey, then Magic was that point guard. He's a pure point guard. Some will say he's one of the best point guards ever, or the best point guard ever. I'm not going to argue that one.
Gotcha. It looks like that actually was Ryan's reactions point. He says that's how far back you got to go to find him. So I appreciate that context.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That is dope.
This was great.
Yeah, this was
awesome.
Hey, when we talk about the outlook into the NBA offseason, especially for the Pistons, we tried to shore up everything, the free agency, the draft, and hopefully what we want out of the front office. I know that there was some noise of people saying, hey, maybe JJ Redick for a PBO. No, I'm good on that one. I'm good on that one. I'm kind of good on that one. Yeah. What's up? What's up?
Yeah, I mean, if we're just throwing names out here, I mean, just JJ Redick. Okay. Well.
Talk to a Rod.
Sure. I mean, if we're going for somebody with no front office experience, yeah, I can't. I'm just not even. So the whole point of creating the position is to get somebody who's experienced and who can take some of the stuff off of Troy Weaver's plate. That's not JJ Redick. It's not. No. That's not how that works. It's like a Danny Ainge type of person that you're trying to go and get for that. That's the whole point of creating the position. It's not just to go try somebody out and have a name in there that that you think works. No, I think that's the type of person they're looking for is a Danny Ainge type to come in and really just control all of that stuff and for Troy to run those things in. So it's not every call has to be made to Tom Gores. Every call now is just sort of going through that new person.
Dope. Thank you as always, Rod. The 2 segments have been fire as always. We appreciate you spending your time with us. Guys, make sure you go and check out the Detroit News. They do great work over there covering all of our teams as well as everything else kind of happening across the state of Michigan. But shout out to Rod Beard, the sports editor-in-chief of the Detroit News. And co-host of the Woodward Pistons podcast. Thank you as always, brother.
Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Rod.
Have a good week.
All right. Have a good week, man.
Legend.
He would definitely be my first draft pick as it relates to the Pistons president of basketball operations.
Absolutely.
I'm cool with
I know
that.
KG asked that question at the beginning of if you were president of basketball operations. It's like, maybe Rod would be a good fit. He knows everything about this city.
I'm telling you, he'd be my first pick. Just like Swiss Insurance Group, it was the first pick in the 2024 draft for Detroit. Woodward Sports is Detroit's top pick for your insurance needs. Keep your current provider honest and price out Swiss today. Go to SwissINS.com or call Mark today at 313-530-1698 and tell him Woodward Sports sent you.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supplies has everything that your pet can dream of. And guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
Hey, you guys, are you tired of wearing that same old Detroit sports merch?
Merch?
Well, let me tell you right now, it is a new era in sports wearables with new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Look, go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. I'm telling you right now, we are dropping new designs every single week. But I know I got to tell you about the Welcome to Detroit t-shirt that we got. I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, you might be. You got the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes election shirts, hoodies, hats, and of course, you know we just dropped this as well too. We broke the world record at the NFL draft. So be a part of history and grab yourself one. You know what? Get another one for your friend as well too. Go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab, get swagged out.
Let's go. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off your day with the Woo Crew. We got the whole 5 in the building. If you're new to the platform, new to the show, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, share the stream, share the post. Everything you guys do, it helps us out a ton, and we appreciate it greatly. Shout out to the legend Detroit News, Rob Beard, man, for giving us this time this week. It was a fire man. Segment, man. Fire segment. LFG said that, hey, Kool-Aid, next time tell Rob don't hold back.
Yeah, right.
Both segments are fire, but we got to get back into some more Detroit Lions conversation. John Effing Lord, Rod for president. Yeah. I love his Avi, too. I think it was Mr. Flannel up there. Hey, Wake Up Woodward brings positive energy. That's Greg Allspot. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Greg had said something earlier in the show. It's like, if you want to be sad, go watch the news. If you want some positive vibes, come watch the Woo Crew.
Damn right. Hey.
I love that comment.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what? One of the things that I love about this show here is that we got some certified ball knowers across all the sports. And you're going to tell us right now about one of the Detroit Lions draft picks. I'm looking forward to the breakdown.
Yeah, so we talked about Christian Mahogany yesterday, the 6th-round pick. But they get him at pick 210. Broke down everything he can do on the offensive line, starting as a backup, but really, maybe one of those first guys off the bench to fill in for Zeitler or for Graham Glasgow, should they need him. But just before that, at pick 189, the Lions snagged Mekhi Wingo out of LSU. This is a man that this was their only move to address the defensive line or to attack it in the NFL draft. And I'm curious your guys' opinions, but what I see most about this guy is he's undersized, but he's been successful at every step of his career. He's been asked questions in different press conferences about, the chip on his shoulder, what adversity he's been through. And he always kind of goes back to that, like, and a disclaimer, I think it sounds funny when someone who's still 6 foot, almost 300 pounds, considers himself undersized, but for the position, I guess he is. But he talks about how all of that just continues to drive him. And before we really get down into breaking his game down, we got to show you this clip of his response in his post-draft press conference about what it meant to him wearing the number 18 at LSU. It's something that I learned recently going through the draft process, when and where that came to be. Mekhi Wingo really values that. JB, if you could play that clip, I would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. So the number 18 is awarded to one guy on the team each year that just exemplifies what the program stands for on and off the field. Just a high character guy that's out in the community, but also a guy you can count on every Saturday that's going to bring it. So that's what the 18 is about at LSU.
So that you can already see like how much pride he takes in that number, and to think he did have a groin injury during the season, which likely led to his drop in the draft at least a little bit, but he rehabbed that back to be able to play in LSU's bowl game, which most guys training for the NFL draft these days don't do. He was a member of the SEC Leadership Council. What I love most, if you're just looking at the numbers, looking at his combine stuff, which take for it what it is, his 10-yard split. And I think we touched on it briefly Monday or Tuesday, but that type of explosion from the defensive tackle position and what Brad Holmes sees as rushability, his ability to play not just inside, but use that power on the outside too to create some mismatches. I think it's a really great backup / insurance option behind a Lee McNeil, behind DJ Reader, alongside Broderick Martin as possibly the future.
Oh, we got some highlights of a Mekhi Wingo as well he showed him making a stop in the run. Look at that pressure on Jordan Travis, by the way.
Play-by-play flannel.
Hey,
yes.
And here's the thing about Mekhi Wingo, and they're showing a lot of his highlights. They're even showing him in the run game as well. But when you watch Mekhi Wingo, what you notice about him and where I think he's going to excel the most with the Detroit Lions is that I think he's got some pass rushing upside. I think what he's used for is going to be interior pass rush. He's quick. He's very powerful for his size. I think he uses his size, the fact that he's 6'1", kind of to his advantage. He gets low. He's got great pass rushing moves. He's quick. I like this Mekhi Wingo pick a lot. I think where he might struggle a little bit at the next level, even though you've seen him make some plays during this highlight tape, is I do think he will be moved a bit on run defense, kind of moved out of gaps and struggle a little bit with that, at least at first. But in terms of Mekhi Wingo, when you put him on this defensive line to, say, back up an Aleem McNeil, kind of the way his play style be sort of like follow the Aleem McNeil archetype, although he's not as big. I certainly love it. And think about this, guys, and I think this will make you a lot more comfortable. Last year, the defensive line certainly had a lot of struggles. You had guys like Benito Jones starting games, Quinton Bohanna. They had to go out and get the corpses of Bruce Irvin and Tyson Alualu.
All right.
Guys like Charles Harris, the Okwara brothers, even though Romeo on a per-play basis was actually pretty good. I always like to point that out. We've got our starters. We've got Hutch. We've got Davenport and Houston. We've got Reeder and Aleem McNeil. When you look at the depth of this defensive line, if you have these guys as kind of depth pieces and backups, I think you feel pretty comfortable. You got Levi, Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo, John Comiskey, and Josh Pascal. If those are guys you can kind of rotate in and out, with Mekhi Wingo being included, a guy who I think could turn out to be a better interior pass rusher than any of the guys that I just mentioned, I think it's a perfectly fine pick. I think that, not even perfectly fine. I think it's a great pick. I think Mekhi Wingo is going to contribute to this team right away. I think he will make a couple of plays with the interior pass rush. I think there will be a couple similar to the one that he had on Jordan Travis, where that pressure right up the middle, making a quarterback get rid of the ball way before they're ready or even get some sacks. I'm a big fan of that Mekhi Wingo pick.
Yeah, and you mentioned something as well. The Detroit Lions, as the season went on, obviously it's football. It is a war of attrition. It's a battle of attrition. You're going to lose players as the year goes on. We saw the Lions towards the end of that season, especially approaching the trade deadline and after, everybody was clamoring for defensive line help. What you saw them do right now is what I'm expecting to be, like you said, this kind of ultimate depth for the Detroit Lions. And if they need it in place of an injury down the road, I'm hoping that these types of picks, these types of players, they're Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell guys to the point that they can step in and make some type of impact, even if it's not to the level of the starters. I'm hoping that these are guys, based on their motor, based on their production from college, are players that can step in and contribute. And based on what you're saying, it seems like they're not going to find themselves necessarily in the same position they were in last year, scrambling to find defensive line help.
Sure, and I want to reiterate this because I mentioned it on Big D Energy on Monday. Our very own Spencer Raxter, I think, put out a tweet that I think is very wise when it comes to the potential futures of Mekhi Wingo and Broderick Martin. Broderick Martin, I feel like, and certainly with his size, is more of the DJ Reader archetype. Based on what he did in college, based on his size, based on what his perceived strengths are, he might be the I would say the space eater type of a double team drawer defensive tackle, whereas Mekhi Wingo, even though he's not as big as Aleem McNeil, is more of that interior pressure guy, that guy that makes some plays, but is not what you would call necessarily a space eater, which is where he's not quite like Aleem McNeil. But I like what they're doing. I like that they have, at least based on PFF grades last season, the best returning interior defensive line in the NFL. And you've got tons of very promising depth pieces that Brad Holmes drafted. KG?
Yeah, and my question is more towards the long term. We all know that Aleem McNeil is going to be up pretty soon. We know the Lions can't keep everybody. With his potential and with the tutelage of Tyrell Williams, do you think that he could possibly be an Aleem McNeil replacement if the Lions decide to move on?
I think it depends on what we see this year. Like I said, his size concerns me a little bit as, say, an every down defensive tackle, but you see guys like that in the NFL all the time. With even Aaron Donald was undersized, and I'm obviously not saying Mekhi Wingo's Aaron Donald. I'm just saying Aleem McNeil is a player that we all love, a player that we saw break out last year, a guy that we expect could even have a better year this year. But given the fact you already paid St. Brown, as you should have, the same with Penei Sewell, some decisions are going to have to be made on guys. And I'm not saying that the Lions aren't going to pay Ali McNeil, but there's certainly no guarantees. So Mekhi Wingo, if he shows out this year, if he has even more impact than I think he will have, a guy who even maybe moonlights as a spot starter, just in case there's some injuries, I see a pathway for Mekhi Wingo making it a little easier to part ways with Ali McNeil. Am I saying that's what I want? Not necessarily, but retaining your guys is a hard thing.
It's hard,
It's
man.
a very, very hard thing, and Brad Holmes is finding out on the fly just how hard it is, and will continue to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know for sure what's in Brad's head, but I know he thinks about those things, and Mekhi Wingo is at least part of that insurance policy for Ali McNeil, outplaying the budget of the Detroit Lions this year. Also, I don't know if you guys realize, Mekhi Wingo started his career at Missouri.
Yeah.
Which means he got to play with another Detroit Lions draft pick, Enos Rakestraw Jr.
Absolutely.
And he had some things to say about Rakestraw in his post-draft press conference. JB, if you could roll that.
Yes, sir. And it's my guy. We text all the time, man. And it's my guy. I've still got a good relationship with a lot of the guys from Missouri. And it's you getting a dog, man. He's relentless. He's gonna fly around to the ball. He's gonna make plays on the ball. And he's a great person. Another guy's gonna give you everything he got, day in, day out, play in, play out.
Bro, Wingo and all of these draft picks, all they do is talk about their teammates, past and present, and they talk about, especially in this one with Rakestraw, just saying he's a dog. Like, that's what we've come to learn of this kid. That's what Brad Holmes says he has in his DNA. But sometimes you just got to hear it confirmed from his teammates. To see that cohesion between those two, we got the Alabama connection all over this team. There's something special that Brad's building, not just on the field with the players, but the type of connection these guys have in the locker room is special.
Yeah, and you can tell the way that Mekhi Wingo is speaking, that he's being sincere about Enos Rakestraw. You saw his face just light up when talking about him, his experiences playing with him, and his future experiences of playing with him in the NFL, which is, I'm sure, conversations that they probably had amongst themselves when they were together at Missouri. And I didn't get to touch on this quite yet, but I want to just mention it now. The whole Mekhi Wingo being number 18, being that number at LSU, which basically exemplifies being highly thought of and being sort of like a team leader. Mekhi Wingo coming back and playing that bowl game was damn impressive. And not only did he play in that bowl game, he had his best statistical game of the season in said bowl game. And another thing that I kind of found interesting, and I'm not positive about this is just some maybe speculation and maybe some narrative fitting on my part, but just bear with me. Do you know who else played in that bowl game?
Who?
Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Do you think they may have taken some cues from a guy like Mekhi Wingo? I don't necessarily know, but it's kind of crazy that if Mekhi Wingo maybe had a role in even guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors playing in that bowl game, two guys who certainly didn't need to.
Leadership, baby.
Tells you something.
It's underestimated, and
by me sometimes.
Yeah, but you also admit when it is important, and he's a football guy. Like, that's what they keep bringing in, the Jack Campbells of the world, the Brian Branches, Sam Laportas, Amon-Ra, Gibbs. All they care about is football and just being a good teammate and being good at football. Mekhi Wingo fits that.
Yeah, it gives you that little bit added boost when you're playing for more than just the money, playing for more than just your future contract value. But when you're playing for your teammate, it's kind of like what we do with this squad as well, man, especially with Woodward Sports. When you're in the trenches and that's what you're pushing for, that's what we do for our Wake Up Woodward chat family as well. It gives just a little bit more of a boost. To see him being able to talk about Enos Rakestraw like that even, it's just like, you know what? I like this. When he keep talking about the characteristics of what makes a Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes guy, it's that as well. It's how hard these guys are going to work. Obviously, Brad Holmes, he said, pop on the tape and look at what they do on the football field, a little less of what they do in the combine, and who they are as leaders.
Yeah.
And leaders, they would do everything in their power to make sure that they pick up one of their teammates, especially when it's most needed. Hey, do you have something?
Yeah, and just a real quick question to maybe try to simplify it for the fans out there. He is a SEC product, so he's a bit battle tested. Do you have like a floor or ceiling for what he can do, and maybe like a player comp? Because a lot of people are comparing him to Kalijah Kancey. I know another undersized defensive tackle who has had some success at the NFL level.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, Kalijah Kancey had some success. He also had his fair share of struggles as well, which don't get pointed out very much. But he did. But he was overall, I would say, a net positive. Kalijah Kancey, maybe a ceiling. It's hard to say a floor. I mean, if we're being honest, his floor is a guy that you never even remember about or never really makes an impact because he's a 6th-round pick. And I'm not trying to be a dick or anything like that.
You're trying to keep it real.
It just is what it is. But I also, Mekhi Wingo to me.
You're not pussyfooting around.
Mekhi Wingo to me, in another way in which he is the polar opposite of Broderick Martin. Mekhi Wingo is another one, though, that I don't believe is developmental. I believe he is kind of a low ceiling kind of guy. I don't even know if his ceiling is Kalijah Kancey, but it doesn't have to be. I believe he is NFL ready. I believe he has NFL ready technique and speed. I just don't know if he has NFL ready size, but you can work with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose his ceiling would be somebody like Kalijah Kancey.
Hey, man, that's awesome. It's going to be cool to see where these players ultimately slot. If they are players that down the line, down the road this season, they play those depth pieces so that they're not in a position where it seems like they have to scramble for more defensive line help or cornerback help. Because when that cornerback room got hit, you saw what fans were saying about people like Jerry Jacobs, Kendall Vildor, and whatnot. They've definitely gone and shored up the depth on both of those position groups, defensive line and defensive backfield. And I'm hoping that ultimately the linebackers, I'm hoping that they are the ones that get a huge boost from everything they decide to add there.
Love somebody like Kool-Aid loves talking about the Lions linebackers and potential augmenting. You always bring up the linebackers. No, it's okay. It's cool. I just had to. Always count on Kool-Aid.
When you look at kind of like how these position groups are starting to really pan out, that's the group where he kind of went and he got, in my opinion, try-hard guys that, you look at Alex Anzalone. There wasn't a lot that people expected out of him. Jack Campbell.
That's true.
We saw what people believed about him as well. If Jack Campbell, based on all the measurables, based on the potential that he has, can kind of reach the same level of grit and determination, perseverance that Alex Anzalone did, I'll be a happy person.
Yeah, but Jack Campbell's a much more talented player than Alex Anzalone. And Anzalone, I will say this. I thought that he was just kind of that try-hard, minimal talent kind of guy, but he proved me wrong last year. He had a great year. That's what I thought before. And I've got egg on my face now. Happy to, by the way, but I admit that I have egg on my face. Alex Anzalone completely proved me wrong, but I think Jack Campbell, he is due for a breakout season.
And people got to chill on Jack Campbell, man. Just PSA, I understand he wasn't absolutely perfect, but the guy almost had 100 total tackles in his rookie season. If we didn't have rookies like Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta, I think his rookie season looks a lot better compared to what people think about him. So let's chill on Jack Campbell a little bit.
Yeah, he just has some kind of record-breaking rookies as teammates.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do?
What can you do? Not just like rookie records. I mean, like, Sam Laporta's out there looking like already veteran, #1 tight end in the NFL type stuff.
Maybe had the best rookie tight end season ever.
Yeah.
Gold jacket loading.
Jeez. What'd you say, JB?
Shout out Lucas Klotz for that, by the way.
Yeah, shout out the ball knower Lucas Klotz to put gold jacket loading for Sam Laporta.
He's first guessed that, and I was a little bit upset with him at first, but because it's like, God damn it. But you know what? shout out Lucas Klotz. He is a ball knower.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, man. You know what? We got to get to our most electrifying segment. It's always awesome. But first, let me tell you guys about something else awesome as well. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Just stop in, sit back, and relax. And let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. Hey, walk in anytime, 7 days a week. That's Lady Jane's. It is wicked awesome.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories. Some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
Blake. Yeah, man. What's good, man? How you doing? What you got for me today? Let's have a look, man. I see the one I want right there. That's the one I'm looking for.
Welcome to the winner's circle, Blake.
Hey.
Figer Law. All we do is win.
All we do is win.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Feldman since 1996.
Hey,
Flannel. Feldman
Soroki's.
Soroki's.
Hey, Soroki's. Absolutely. Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taken over Michigan. Locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit, doubling the number of restaurants this year. Known for their quality hand-battered and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. Be sure to stop in and try at a mega station near you or go to Sorokis.com. And, oh, by the way, Soroki's, man, did they hook us up at the draft. That
Man,
was
did they ever.
that hit the spot for sure, and you guys are going to enjoy it. But after you go to Soroki's, after you fill up on some chicken, some pizza, anything you want, go to Feldman and get yourself a new car like myself and Matt Broder did. And those are the two best endorsements that you can give from word of mouth ourselves. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. It's been an awesome morning. Glad you guys chose to kick it off with the Woo Crew. We got the whole starting five in the building, but shout out to Brendan Dillinger and a couple of the chat family. They said, good grief, that pizza looks good. Shout out to Soroki's, man.
Does the pizza have great size? I'm sure it does.
I'm sure it does.
Dude's the man.
You know what? It'd be worthy of the linebacker room. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, shout out to Greg Allspot, KG Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
You damn right.
100%.
Let's go.
100%.
At nobody. Let's rock. In the social world, you still don't have a Twitter account.
I don't. I'm an old relic, man. What can I say?
Let's go. Let's go. But you guys already know it's time to tee up the most electrifying segment in sports entertainment. But first, I need you guys to smash that like button if you already have to encourage somebody else to do the same. Why? Because it's time for the most electrifying segment in sports entertainment. If you smell what JBSMOOOOOV is cooking with what's trending.
JBSMOOOOOOV.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What up, though?
Hey, you know what? I think for this What's Trending, I have something in here for every single body up here, which is kind of cool.
Oh, boy.
I know. First, Flannel, we're going to start off with you. You need to get your boy Patrick Mahomes because he's on Monday Night Raw causing a little havoc between him and Braun Strowman.
He don't want that smoke.
I don't think he really wants that smoke yet.
No, he certainly is not in his arena at this point.
Come get them hands.
But I do have to back this up. So, Flannel, the ball is in your court. The newly acquired wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs made it known because he got tattooed.
Oh, wow.
Xavier Worthy?
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy got the Chiefs tattoo and what pick it was as well, too, tattooed on him. So, Flannel, are you ready to get that KC tattoo eventually?
Not getting a KC tattoo. I keep furthering the narratives, people. I will continue to shut them down. I am just a appreciator of Patrick Mahomes, and then as time has gone on, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and the like. Yeah, but if you're Xavier Worthy, honestly, and if I were Brent Veach, I wouldn't have made that pick, but you can't really question him either. But if you're Xavier Worthy and you get to play in a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offense, you're set up for success. You saw it happen with Rashee Rice last year, and now that Rashee Rice is probably going to face a suspension to start the year, Xavier Worthy might get more playing time than maybe he's even ready for. So we shall certainly see, but I'd be ecstatic if I were him.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, in that Patrick Mahomes clip that it was Juwan Taylor. It was a false start even on that play.
And you didn't even see him doing it as much during the other games, but always like a half a second early.
Just a half second early. Kool-Aid,
Yes,
this
sir.
one is for you, man. I don't know what's going on in the head of Dwight Howard, so maybe you can explain this.
God, I know what's going on.
I don't know anything to do with Dwight Howard's head.
Dwight
He
on a
put
different
this
type of
out
time.
on socials the other day that whenever a team gets eliminated in the NBA playoffs, he's going to post this. It's him in his Superman cape.
Oh my God!
And he just did this for Phoenix.
It's over, Dwight.
Gosh. Dwight, let it go, bro.
Right, just go to Europe, man. It's okay.
Where was he at? Was he at Taiwan for a long time?
Yeah.
He was doing commercials and such too.
His shoulders are looking a little small.
It's over, Dwight. I think he even wanted the Pistons to give him a call. That's how you know it's bad.
Yeah, at the trade deadline. It's like, no, it's not happening, bro. It's not happening, Dwight.
Yeah, just stick to the stuff that you into, and I'll just leave it at that. So.
What stuff is that? What are you alluding to, KG?
What you talking about, KG?
If you know, you know.
What you talking about, KG?
Dwight is on some different
What did
type
you say?
of time.
He said no, did he? What? You know what? We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that one. This next photo, I'm about to make every hockey fan a little upset with this, because this is LCA as they have taken up the ice for the summer at LCA right now, and this is basically what it looks like. So get prepared for a lot of concerts over the summer.
Yeah.
It's
just Detroit does concerts right too.
That's just a sad moment right there.
This
Rotor,
Uh-oh.
you're up, my man.
What up, dog? Something's coming when you intro it like that.
I gotta ask you, are these the new catching drills of 2024?
You gotta face your fear, son. All right, here we go.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, done those before.
Another one. Come in. Good.
Oh my God.
What are you doing?
All right, gotta get down in there. Okay.
Is this jackass?
Good. Good. Get down.
Come on.
He's so aggressive with
That's a
it.
little silly.
Stay down.
Even if it was a
Stay
skit,
down.
I'd be swinging, bro. What? No, I'm swinging,
Out,
bro.
illegal.
Baseball is this?
A few of these are actually drills.
Seriously?
Seriously?
All right, you gotta get this back around here, right? You gotta
Not
get down in
this.
there. You feel that? Get in there. Get the club up.
Got
Is
him in
this
the
a real
arm
drill,
bar.
brother?
No.
It's a wrestling move he got him in.
He smack him in the back of his head.
Hey, pull that, son. All right. Hey, you gotta get
Oh,
down
that's
in there.
it.
I don't want to see your target. All right? I want to see your target. You ready? Here we go. Get it back there. Go.
Right in the quad.
What is this?
Oh. No, so
Wow.
the most of those are they got to be a joke. That first one where you're
Yeah.
standing right in front of the pitching machine.
Hell no.
That even if you're wearing a cup, that
Yeah, like
that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Goodness.
But taking a fungal bat and just starting ripping balls at catchers from a couple steps away, I've seen that done before. In fact, semi-different story, I forget which year it was, one of our drills in the offseason, because during the offseason you only get a certain amount of hours you get to practice. You can't be with the full team. So our pitchers, we would have to catch other pitchers on the staff. So, like, I had to go get a left-handed catcher's glove and catch my boy. Shout out to Tyler Mills, who was Michigan's Mr. Baseball in 2008. But if you look at we got our hands on a scouting report one time from an opposing team, and they scouted him as throwing between 82 and 94 miles per hour in his fastball. That's a difference that's not normal. You never knew what was going to come out of this guy's arm. Ooh. And so I would be catching him, and he'd be chucking 94 miles per hour. You have no idea where it's going. I wore a couple on the quad like that. Ooh. It was my least favorite part. I don't know why anyone would ever want to be a catcher. I'm thankful, but I think it's miserable.
No.
Miserable.
Oh, Did you ever get caught up in any drills like that or any hazing?
No, definitely no hazing.
Just leave the camera on you for a second. Yeah. Awkward. All right. Well, this last one is basically for all of us right here. I need your help on this one. Do you guys think number 2 needs to retire after this?
Looking like Marshawn out there.
Oh,
yeah, that's nasty.
Look at bro. He just put his hands on his knees and was just like, all right.
1.
He looked over at his coach and was like,
2.
Coach, just take me off the roster.
3. 4.
Number 2 right here.
5.
That reminds me of Dante Hall.
Yeah,
Bro,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know that one where he just stops on a dime and just like jumps backwards.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest punt return in NFL history.
Bro, it's how he just accepts the dejection at the end of this clip, bro.
Oh, number 2.
Yeah, look how he just sits there on the ground at the end of the clip like, man.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, that looks like a 7 on the guy's back. Look at John Elway.
After you get hot jumped over, that's about all you could do, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't
just
just
sit there like.
So does he
goodness.
need to retire, you guys?
Nah, it wasn't just number 2 that got cooked. The whole team got cooked, so I would feel better about it.
Retire the whole team, you said, KG?
Yeah. Come get y'all sons, man. Come get y'all sons.
I would love to be a fly in the wall during like film study of that moment.
Oh, coach can't even get mad. It's like, hey, he's just the kid's going to the NFL probably.
He gonna go into the locker room like, y'all look like a bunch of people out there that will wear your do-rags tied to the front.
Right.
You guys just out here pussyfooting around.
F you, coach. You go tackle him.
What was that one coach? You remember the Titans? That positional coach looking like a bunch of bombs out there. I got him.
Oh man.
Champions pay the price. Looking like a bunch of bombs out there.
That is a good impersonation, Sam.
That was good. That was good. That's it for what's trending. You guys, back to you on the desk. Let's get the mailbag, man.
Hey, as always, good job, Mr. JB Smooth, with what's trending. It's always cooking, bro. Good job. Good job. Hey, tell me about your hat real quick, too.
The hat? This is, I don't know, some new company I found. Assholes Live Forever. So it's basically got assholes and live and then forever on this side.
A lot of words for a hat.
Kind of crazy.
JB Smooth, always with the fire, man. Hey, look, and y'all, that's 4 O's, 1 V. Mr. JB Smooth. Good job again. All right, chat family, we need you guys to go ahead, get your mailbag questions into the chat. We'll definitely read as many as we can before we shut this thing down for the day.
I see some good ones. But sorry, did you say something?
No, I was going to ask you. Do you see any?
Oh yeah, I see some great ones. First one, not necessarily a question, but a comment from Rando Smalls, who's a new member. Shout out to you, Randy. Mailbag. When Wingo drops a few pounds and moves to defensive end and wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, I want full credit.
I'll give you full credit for that one. If you predict that, I will kneel at your feet.
That would be epic. How about this? Ed O'Neill, mailbag.
That was a weird thing to say, but go ahead.
Kneeling at another man's feet, but I got you.
You just bow. A genuflect, they call it. Ed O'Neill, mailbag. Thoughts on this? I believe the number 1 goal should be the 1 seed. That means games like San Francisco, Dallas, and Houston mean a lot more. Then it's Super Bowl or bust, as the 1 seed is expected to represent the NFC. Thoughts?
I believe if that game were held at Ford Field, that they go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you saw what type of a home field advantage that Ford Field could be in the 2 playoff games that the Lions won. Most certainly, your very first. Your first goal should obviously be win the division, but getting the number 1 seed is. I honestly think it's almost something that we don't talk about enough. Gotta happen.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're expected to get to the Super Bowl. If you can go an entire playoffs without having to go on the road, that is, that's as big a luxury as you can have.
Yeah. Especially when you got one pride backing you up.
Absolutely.
Especially when you have that.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam.
Good, KG.
To me, that's the floor expectation for this season coming up. Like you said, Sam, we don't talk about it enough. The division, we got that out the way. That's well and done. The division is not good enough going forward. That needs to be a footnote for the season. Absolutely, number 1 seed should be the floor expectation for the 2024 Lions.
Yep.
John effing Lord, mailbag. Can we have a show each year giving out awards like Rookie of the Year, MVP, Hot Take of the Year, etc.? Call it the Woodies, like the Slammies. That's a great idea.
I think they have a Woody's, but it's dedicated to a certain genre in film. But yeah, we
$24.99.
What you mean, KG?
What up, though? It's $24.99 making an appearance again.
Oh my God!
Are they adult awards?
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
It's porn, okay? It's porn. Nah.
Oh, you're exposing me. See what I did there? Exposed naked.
I like the idea, though.
Thank you for breaking that down.
We just got to change the name.
Yeah, definitely. Justin from North Carolina, mailbag. Which Keanu Reeves movie are you more psyched for? John Wick 5, Constantine 2, or Hardball 2? I just made that one up. John Wick 5 or
Like
Constantine 2?
John Wick 5.
No, Constantine 2. Because
I've waited so long for another
Exactly.
Constantine.
It took them forever.
I'm telling you, I saw the first one. I never thought we would get another one. I've seen 4 John Wicks.
Right.
I love them all, but Constantine too, man.
And how many more John Wicks you gonna make? Okay, he's a guy in the suit who kills people, man. Don't piss him off. Okay, we get it, bro. How many more John Wicks you gonna make, man? But Constantine, I think that was a slept-on movie back in the day. I remember going to see it as a youngin', man, and I would be more excited for that. It took him forever though. Like
I'm passing on Constantine too. I'm sorry. You can make as many John Wicks as you want. If we got 15, 20 Fast and Furious, I don't mind another John Wick here. It's action packed. What are you gonna do in Constantine 2? Tell me.
We shouldn't have had 15 Fast and Furious movies. Let's talk about that. After 5, it was dead. Like I don't get it, man. Once Paul Walker went, that's when the series went to. So,
but you gotta see like how much crazier can things get, and how much more bland can the titles get.
They went from street racers to government op agents. Like I don't get it, man. They out there.
They went to space at a certain point.
Yeah, like what are we doing now? Like
we got
crazy.
We got a couple comments here in the chat.
Let it fly.
Key Ozzy, I knew Broder had an OnlyFans.
Broder selling feet pics, y'all.
Brendan Dillinger said, "How can they come up with 5 John Wicks? I haven't seen the first one yet."
You sleeping on John Wick. I'm telling you right now. You'll be questioning who the hell is John Wick, and at the end of the movie, you'll still be wondering who the hell is John Wick, but you just don't want to piss him off. Just know that.
You don't mess with dogs. You don't take his dog. Actually, spoiler alert.
See, right.
Mess with
the whole
dogs.
premise of the movie.
You just ruined the movie for Brandon Dillinger.
Shit.
No, my new favorite word. Broder is he's not pussyfooting around.
No.
He's not. Oh my God.
I've been saying that all day now.
All right.
This show really Tokyo drifted a different direction.
Nice. The last good Fast and Furious movie.
All right, wait, last one. Vincent Ellison, mailbag. Early thoughts on NFL Rookie of the Year. Offensive and defensive. Let them fly, boys.
Did we do this yesterday?
Did we?
Did we?
Oh, that was offensive MVP and defensive MVP. So you said Rookie of the Year?
Maybe it was on your other show, KG.
Oh, you might have been right.
I'm just kidding.
I love y'all, though.
Rookie of the Year.
I mean, I think I'm going to cheat a little bit. I think it's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Ooh.
Just being how great of a prospect he is. Him or Malik Neighbors.
Ooh.
Malik Neighbors is going to be they're both going to be wide receiver 1 on day 1.
Ooh.
Rookie of the Year, that's tough.
Ooh. That is a tough question.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't have the draft picks in front of me, so I'm like, you go quarterback. I mean, Caleb Williams is kind of an easy. He's probably got the highest betting odds.
Yeah.
I like that Marvin Harrison, though, because he's going to be a focal point of that offense.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray can get him the football.
Where did Jaden Daniels go?
Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. It is possible as Jaden Daniels.
Interesting. What about Darius Robinson on the defensive side of the ball out in Arizona? Or you go like a Jared Verse?
I'm going Latu for defensive rookie of the year.
They got a good
going to the Colts. Yeah, they do. They've got Kwity Paye. They've got Abuakam or whatever his name is. They've got some guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good call, Latu.
Yeah, but he's so NFL ready. I think he's the most set up to have I would say a like 8 to 10 sack rookie year. So give me Latu.
Y'all tripping. It's Terry and Arnold, hands down.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's
I would
talk
love
about
that. I would love that, obviously.
You know what,
Connor?
Connor?
You guys didn't pick J.J. McCarthy for your rookie of the year.
I don't think he's going to play enough games. If he started from day one, maybe. Although I still think he needs some development. But I see him going in, if not sitting the whole year, going in week 8 or 9 or at the earliest.
You know we can't say JJ's name too loud. Neil Rule might be lurking, so
yeah.
You don't want to say that too loud. You know?
Oh, yeah, I'll Scrooge McDuck on IG because I'm a white male. I can't comment on JJ McCarthy or something.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we briefed the chat family,
Dallas
man.
Turner. There's racists out
Broder
there.
got beef with Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck.
Seriously.
He's an idiot.
You know what? But you do got some people agreeing with you, Mr. KG. Connor Bryce, he said on the offensive side, either Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. On the defensive side, Terrion Arnold or Jared Verse.
Penis is MVP.
Oh, well,
Michael Penis Jr.
Michael Penis Jr. Everybody.
Oh man, bro! Without context, that's gonna be so crazy, bro. So crazy. Goodness gracious, bro. You got to bring that one back probably at the end of the week for what's trending. Goodness gracious. What did you say his name was, Mr. KG?
Michael Penis Jr.
Oh my gosh, dog. I love this. Anything else from the crew?
Nope.
Nah, man, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Wrap that shit up, B.
Chat family, thank you guys for kicking off the day with Wake Up Woodward. It's been a show. Hey, let's get this chest back. Hey, let's rock. Let's rock. For the vet of the squad, this is Mr. Flannel Sam Reynolds, bringing the heat as always. Good show, brother.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun show. You as well. Shout out to Rod Beard for having one of the greatest segments any guest has ever had on Woodward Sports. We got some great ones. We got Rod. We got John Macaroon. I mean, we are blessed. We are certainly blessed.
We are.
Definitely are. I'm glad you said that.
Yep.
Hashtag blessed. Shout out to our Lions and Tigers credential beat reporter, Mr. Matthew.
What happened to that boy? Thank you. Great show. That was fun. Fun.
Hey, shout out to our elite, our illustrious, our stupendous, our wonderful, our magnificent.
Here you go, boosting
I
again.
know. I'm gonna add a new word like every day. See how far we get this thing. It's like pie. But shout out to KG in the sound booth, Detroit's #1 draft pick. What up, though?
And Rookie of the Year, man. Don't forget.
Rookie of the Year.
But, man, I just got to get a shout out to y'all, man. Y'all my guys, bro. I hate waking up in the morning, but I love being here doing this with y'all, man. Y'all, I love it here, man. So thank y'all, man. Shout out to my team.
Bro. Hey, ball knower, elite do-rag wearer.
Damn right.
Hey, let's
talking
go.
about
Let's go. You guys already big show.
Big show.
Let's go.
My dog.
Oh my Shout out to Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, Mr. JBSMOOOOOOV.
Titties.
Oh my God.
Titties.
Hey,
Titty residue.
the same thing that KG said. Morning suck, waking up, but knowing that I'm coming here to hang out with you guys and do this show for 2 hours, it makes it all worth it. Love you guys.
Hey,
Love you, baby.
Love you too, man. Love you guys, bro.
That's
Love
my
you guys.
quarterback.
It's my quarterback. Yeah.
My team.
Let's go. Wake up Woodward, man, and the chat family. It's your boy Brandon there, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, credential Pistons beat reporter for the network. As always, chat family, you guys are the most important part of this platform. We're never going to overstress that. I'm not going to underestimate that. Thank you.
Hold dicks.
Super Jugger 97.
Hold dicks, though.
Oh my God.
Needs that whole glue.
Oh my gosh. Hey, look, y'all are epic, as clearly seen here. You guys are on one. Shout out to the music, man. DJ KG is putting it down in there. But guys, enjoy the rest of your day. This has been Wake Up Woodward. Smash that like button on the way out. Once you have, encourage someone else to do the same. Thank you guys.